Heyo everybody, Haku here with my review of Demi-chan with Kataritai, or Interview with Monster Girls. Interviews with Monster Girls, actually, I believe. Episode 4. Now this one, I know a lot of you may have been worried that I wasn't going to like this series after I gave kind of an review last week, where there were a lot of things I didn't like. There were a few things I didn't like this week, I guess I'll admit that, but overall, I think this may have been one of the best episodes, possibly the best episode of the show so far. I know there's only 4 of them, but I actually really liked this week's episode, and I'll go through what I liked and didn't like about it. I think maybe compared to episode 2, episode 2 might still be the funniest. This one wasn't quite as funny as that. Well, there were a lot of funny parts. I just think episode 2 had less funny parts, but the few that there were, like, just the Machi's body and Hikari scenes in episode 2, I loved those. I think those are the funniest thing in the show so far. But this episode had a lot of funny scenes, and I think story-wise, this episode was the most solid for me. So let's go through it part by part. Yuki goes to Takahashi's room, but he isn't there, but then he shows up, and starting it, the things I didn't like were just the first few minutes, and I'll explain why. It's not like I hated them, it's just that there were certain things that really were not that great. Yuki immediately blames her problems on being a demi. It's because I'm a demi, isn't it? When really, she doesn't blame it at all on her being rude to people, and I think she was being a bit dramatic and overacting a little bit there. I mean, they were gossiping about her and all, but honestly, that's pretty tame to, like, real life stuff. That is some pretty tame stuff. I thought it was funny when we see Takahashi in the one room. I noticed the juice box he had in the background said tomato, what was it, tomato, as in Tometo, and 100%, so I was just laughing at tomato 100%. So then Sakie says she wants to help him, and it's funny how she can't control herself. She's like all excited, jumping over the desk. And like I've said, I think Sakie is one of the best characters. I really like her. I think that Yuki and her have sort of similar circumstances. Somebody in the comments when we were talking back and forth kind of brought that up as well. And yeah, I'll agree that they do have some sort of similar circumstances there. And that makes it a little bit repetitive. And I even said that I think that makes it a bit too repetitive. But I still think Sakie is a really good character because she has a lot of other things going on. And I really like the character. And, like, he talks about the people gossiping about Yuki making them, like, weak or wrong or something, and I don't really think they were weak or wrong. Like, in normal cases, bullying, of course, you're trying to put somebody down, you're saying horrible, not true things about them that try to put them down and hurt them to make yourself feel better. That does make you weak and wrong, but these girls were just sort of talking about their experiences and what they saw so far. This girl would not talk to them, she would not talk or hang out with this other dude, so they were like, man, what does she think, she's too good for us or something? And then she got all upset and was like, oh no, they're gossiping about me. And yeah, that's bad, that's hurtful and all, but from their perspective, they were just taking what they had seen and talking about it. Like, if I was like, hey, how are you, my name is whatever, and they just ignored me and ran off, I'd be like, well, that was pretty rude of them. So yeah, I can see where these they were coming from, but it all works out in a really good way. I'll get into that scene, at least I think it is next. Yeah, because Hikari takes Yuki, and they go to the bathroom there. Hikari is best girl, and this is how you handle people like that in a realistic and healthy way. Communicate, call them out, tell them what's wrong. If they are mistaken about you or lying about you, tell them how things are. So Hikari was totally right here, and it was really cool, but there was one thing I noticed that I laughed at while this really serious scene was going on, and I like the OST for this scene a lot as well, I'll just throw in there. While this was going on, there was like a 7-second time period or something, like a really long panning shot of just a toilet, like down inside a toilet, and the whole time I'm like, that's a very odd shot. Whoever was directing and storyboarding this, that's like a very odd shot to put in there. So I just laughed at it. I was like, why do we have this nice heartfelt speech and just a long panning shot of inside of a toilet? Either way, beautiful OST, like I said. And from what we gain from Hikari's speech here, it seems like she has some sort of backstory stuff going on that we have yet to see, which is really cool because I like knowing that we have a little bit more for the characters, and we get some hints at it later, but I think we're going to have some cool storylines that have been hinted at by the stuff she's saying here. And then it ends up working out really, really well because Yuki goes in there, she communicates, she calls him out, tells him what's wrong and how they were mistaken, and it all works out. Because they weren't bullying her because they wanted to be mean to her, they were just like, man, that's rude, she didn't talk to us, why was she being so rude? Does she think she's better than us? So really, I think this was good, and it all worked out for the best. That's why even the stuff I didn't really like, it all worked out fine. So I mean, hey, who cares? It worked out. All's well that ends well, I suppose. Also, very, very funny when Hikari gets home and she just keeps saying, don't ask, every time Himari says something. And that's the first time we noticed their cute little vampire bat charms, the little bat charms. I thought those were adorable. I hope somebody sells those because I would love to get one. They were so cute. So then we have Sakie's hug scene, and I was dying when she was like, can I have a hug too? And Sakie was just like going at him, and he was like, no, I think it's best we don't. And she's all downtrodden. I thought that was funny. That whole sequence was great. Even with Machi in there too was very, very funny. So I really liked that. Then we see Takahashi and Himari walking. I liked this scene as well. It was a good character building and conversation scene, which of course you guys know I really like. And we find out that Himari actually doesn't totally trust him because she thinks he could just be using Hikari, only caring about her because she's a vampire and because he wants to study vampires and stuff like that. So I thought that was really cool, and I don't want to say it is realistic. I don't want to call it realistic, though. That's not what made it good. I guess it was good just because, yeah, it felt like a real conversation and real concerns and stuff. So I like that. Then Takahashi's thoughts of Hikari and stuff, and the way she likes strong food and all that different stuff, I thought was very, very funny. Also, when he was talking about that, and we were seeing all the different things too, and we flash over to Machi doing homework, and she has the harness with her head strapped to her chest. I thought that was very funny, because, I don't know, just the head harness thing on her chest. I always find that funny the few times we've seen it. And then at the very end, we again see the vampire charms when Himari and Hikari are talking about why Hikari sent the message, which was a funny scene as well. And then, yep, vampire charm so cute is where we end it. Overall, the first few minutes, like I said, weren't totally great. There were some things that I was like, okay, maybe a bit too dramatic here, maybe laying it on a little thick, but I loved the way it ended, and everything else in the episode I loved, so I thought it was really good. And like I said, it was almost as funny as episode 2. I think it maybe even had more funny moments. The funny moments just weren't as good as, say, Hikari walking in and seeing Takanashi hugging Machi's head and the evil smile, or them both hitting their legs on the table, or the bathroom scene. None of them were as funny as that from episode 2, but I feel like there were more funny moments. And it was better in some ways, like the conversation scenes were really good. The Takahashi and Himari scene, I really, really liked that. And just the meeting scene as well, I really liked. So characters so far, I actually really love Hikari and Himari now, and Sakie. All three of them are really great characters that I enjoy. I like Machi a lot as well, though sometimes she can feel a little bit generic and boring, but I like her a lot as well. Takahashi, sometimes I'm like, oh, I really, really like him as a character, and then sometimes I'm like, well, that doesn't quite make sense from the way he was earlier. So for him, I'm back and forth a little bit. Sometimes I really like him, sometimes I'm a bit like, that doesn't totally seem to fit his character, and sometimes he does seem like the generic male lead sort of character, but I think he moves away from that enough to be a good character in his own right. And then we have Yuki, who it seems next week is going to be another episode focused a lot on her, so I think that may make her character flesh out a little bit more. Right now it feels like her only issue was something that was easily solved, and her issue really didn't make her that much of a better character, but it helped make Hikari a way better character. It helped with Sakie and Takahashi's characters, but really we haven't got very much of anything out of Yuki so far as a character. She's mostly been just a prop for the other characters, especially Hikari. Even in episode 1 where she was used for Hikari's joke scenes, it felt, and when she was used to make Machi sort of feel uncomfortable in episode 2, she's more been used as a plot device, not really a plot device even, she's been used as a prop for the other characters to get better. Her actually as a character, she hasn't really done anything except be there for the other characters. And sorry, that noise was, if you could hear it near the mic, I put my hands together like that while I was talking. I gesture a lot, but most of it's off screen. Yeah, I guess that was it. I guess that was all of my thoughts, because I wrote some stuff down about the characters to remind me to talk about them at the end, and I just did that. So it was a score. Only thing left. I think was the highest score I gave to this like an 8.25 or something? I'm not sure. I think this deserves more than that. I think this deserves an 8.5 though. It was not perfect. Like I said, the first few minutes I had a little bit of issue here and there. But overall, 8.5 out of 10 is great. 8.5 Vampire Charms out of 10. Yeah, I'll give it that. I've said that a bunch this video already. And that's it. So I hope you guys did enjoy the video. Like if you did like it. Just comment down there. Tell me what you thought of this episode and what you thought of my thoughts on it. There's definitely some things up for discussion here. Also, subscribe if you want to and are not already. And share if you want as well, because we are very close to 400 subs and very excited to get there. Follow on Twitter, I guess, if you want, and I'll try to keep you updated there and stuff for the channel too. That's it. So thank you once again for watching so very much. And I'll see you all next time.